What a beautiful day today. Oh, hi! Welcome back. I hope you had a great time during holidays in Easter and you had a lot of food and sweets, as I did in Italy. As a promise, I'm back and today we are counting down pros and cons, as promised, of the Silver 900 from AirSmoke, a full metal electronic cigarette with variable voltage. I received this cigarette directly from AirSmoke, as the other item I reviewed before, free of charge for the purpose of review. I have to be sincere, this is a good device, but I'm not totally enthusiastic as I've been with the previous product from AirSmoke. I think it's just really not matching nicely with me as they did the previous electronic cigarette. But in any case, we will start immediately to open it, give it a clean and see what's inside, and after we will come back to see how it performs. Okay guys, welcome to the Purple Altars. Why I use stupid name for just a piece of mat? Because I want to, I like to give strange name, and today it should be the day where season premiere of Game of Thrones starts, so I'm overexcited about stuff with cool names. So let's take a look of what is inside the box of the Silver 900 from AirSmoke. Of course, I simulated the unboxing. We have the battery itself. We will take a look about it. We have the Clearomizer. Sorry for some drop of water, but you know, I quickly washed it for the purpose of review. See, there's no manual. I will address this issue after. But we had some we have a number of goodies inside. We have the USB charging cable. We have, of course, I open it, a spare coil with a different resistance. The one inside the Clearomizer is 1.8 ohm, while this one is 1.6. And then we have additional drip tip. This one is plastic, which can be exchanged for the standard one if you prefer to vape on plastic. The airflow is a bit tighter, as you can see, but nothing really major. So this is, as I said, a variable voltage battery, and it is originally produced by iSmoke with the brand eLeaf. Is another eLeaf device with the name of Mini iJust. As you can see, there's a pass-through and USB charge with this small cover. The purpose of this cover is to be lost. It works more or less like this. Done. Very easy. As you can see, you have more than one. And these are again very useful in case you want to spread them all over your place or bring one with you and lose in your office, for example. Apart from this, as you can see, there is this dial, which is the control for variable voltage, and it goes from 3.3 to 5 volt, so it's quite an extended range. Actually, this is something that I at the same time like and I don't like. I will tell you exactly what I don't like. I think this has a couple of major design flaws in terms of usability. First of all, as you can see, question, can you see something? Can you see which voltage is at the moment? Because through the screen of the camera at the moment I can't. I will try to zoom in a bit. Yeah, now I can see it, but it's clearly very difficult to see. Unless you are in perfect direct sunlight or any kind of light source, is very difficult to see the voltage. In the day-to-day use is almost impossible, especially if you're walking, if you are not really focused just on doing this. The second or third hit that I had was one of the worst dry hit I ever had in my short life of vapor. I will explain you why. As you can see, and it's not very easy, and especially another design flow, if is already barely readable, if you touch it you cannot really see where are you going, because trust me, the ends has to cover. I cannot really show you without. The end has to cover the dial to operate it. There are 3.3, 4 volts and 4.5, 6, I cannot read it. And the good thing is that once it's in place, as you can see, is quite difficult. You cannot really, it does not move very much. The build quality is stellar, is perfect. There's no play in this, this dial, it clicks perfectly. It has this strange design at the center which make it look like a jewel. I think this is a cigarette that can appeal the girls and the ladies, because it's very elegant. Not totally sold by the design, but for sure, yes, this is quite hard to rotate, but once it's in place, is very difficult to move it by accident. But the problem was that when I was trying different voltages at the beginning, I did this terrible mistake. I could not read very clearly the sign, and instead of going from 3.3 to, I don't know, 3.5 something, what is in this position, I move the other way around, and there's nothing that prevent you to go directly for 3.3 volt to 5 fucking volts. And I got a dry hit that God knows if I will remember forever. This is pro and cons of this dial. It's difficult, I mean, it's quite complex to rotate it with one hand without actually obscuring it, and there's no block for going between 3 and 5 volts, so be careful while you are operating it. Time to zoom out. So the pass-through with the fundamental protection I showed you already is a standard Ego threaded thread for your Clearomizer. You can put whatever you want, apart from the initial, well, the standard one that they give you in the packages. This is again made by Leaf, is quite interesting and quite unique in design. As you can see, he has a coil, which you can see also here, with a dual coil head, which is somewhat very similar to the Kangentech one, but is not, of course, identical. Let's say that the style is similar. This Clearomizer is, in my opinion, very sensitive to long drawn and dry hit, because I had some of them in my experience with this, and sincerely speaking, I'm afraid to vape with this coil head anything more than 4 volts. Usually I stay below of that, because if you add long inhale with high voltage, you will get probably a dry hit. Probably there's not much space for the hole to get much liquids, and the hole itself, as you can see, is very small in comparison, for example, with the, you see, two holes in the Kangertech for the ProTank family, for the ProTank family Clearomizer. You can see that there are just these two small holes. For the rest, the quality of the taste is quite good. The vape amount is, I would say, standard, nothing special. And I still think that the problem of dry heats that I had is just a combination of the head inside this Clearomizer, because I will show you in a future episode. I had Airsmoke send me another Clearomizer which uses the same coil head, and I didn't have this problem. Another thing that is quite curious is the structure. There's no screws to keep it in place. It's just there's just these plastic rubbery O-rings, and so you insert like this and it stays in place. It's very easy to assemble it, not difficult also to refill. I will show you. I have some Airsmoke by Dekang Cherry, which is too sweet and is getting old, so it's better to use for the purpose of review. You see, you have quite a lot of space for refills. You can even do it with the dropper from some premium liquids. It's not really difficult. It's easy peasy. And here we go. Okay, I think I show you everything was supposed to be shown about this electronic cigarette. Let's go back to the couch for a wrap-up and final thought about the Airsmoke Silver 900 electronic cigarette. Okay, I think I said almost everything during the table inspection, the autopsy of the Silver 900. Is probably, in my opinion, the best built electronic cigarette from Airsmoke at the time. Is really perfect. In terms of performances, it vapes okay. Is a good vape for the size and the class of the device, of course. It does not have the problem of wicking, because that, for example, the Supreme, my beloved Supreme 650 has, because of the top wicks. In terms of taste, I still prefer the Supreme 650, even if I'm finding out, trying more and more devices, that this gives some color to the juice. I don't know how to explain in other words, but the juice tastes sweeter in this electronic cigarette, and it sounds like some kind of placebo effect or suggestion because the affection of this cigarette, but this is the case. So it's a good vape. I think the Clearomizer, actually, for the problem of dry heats that I mentioned before, does not take full advantage of the power of the battery below, because I'm frank, I'm being a bit scared of using this cigarette, this Clearomizer, with a voltage setting of anything greater than 4 volts. And I'm also convinced that these kits, where you get a product which is complete and is a suggestion to use it as it is, at least at the beginning, should be capable of going through the full range in safety, especially when they are targeted to beginners. This of course is not AirSmoke's fault, but it's fault of Elif, the original producer. At least I think they should have some indication of a safe voltage. I mean a voltage which is always safe regardless the liquid you're vaping at the moment, in order not to have this terrible dry heat that I had with this Clearomizer. For the rest, the airflow is okay, probably a little bit bigger than the X Max. The dial to regulate the voltage is has pros and cons. As I said, I think this is somewhat subjective. I really don't like the fact that it rotates back from 3.3 volts to 5, which can just a second of distraction can lead to destroying a coil, as it happened actually to me. And the number on the dial are very small. If you are not in full direct light, it's almost impossible to see which voltage you are using at the moment. From the other side, it's almost impossible to accidentally change the voltage. So, for example, if you are setting up in the morning your Clearomizer with a voltage which you know is okay, is compatible with the Clearomizer or the coil head, this is perfect because you leave it as it is for all the day, and there is no way that in your pocket it will change setting, or as may happen with other electronic cigarettes. But from the standpoint of having a variable voltage according to your taste, which happens to me, for example, when I have a bit of sore throat to vape a lower voltage, this is not really that convenient. Another problem that I had, this is 100% personal problem, is the size. To me, this is way too big. It's not comfortable in my jeans. It's not comfortable in my jacket. Just to give you a comparison, please take a look how big it is in comparison with the Supreme 650. Not even to mention with a comparable device, but in my opinion much superior, which is the Pocket Mod Mini. I totally love this device, and please take a look that something new arrived from AirSmoke, so there will be a new review also for this combo, which is as is intended to be vaped. The only thing I try to have something that is bigger than this, and I have to put the X-Fire Skeletal Pirate variable voltage battery with the Kangertech T3S, which is huge. Yes, this one is a little bigger, a few millimeter bigger. But as you can imagine, this is for me just a gimmick that I bought for fun and never, or very rarely, gets out from my house. The battery from the other end is very good. It has this pass-through where you can vape while charging. The autonomy is great, as you expect from a real 900 mAh battery. And sincerely speaking, the taste of this Clearomizer is good. It has a lot of accessories. You can easily change the drip tip. It does not leak, which is very important. And but the fact that it's so sensitive to chain vaping, and I had so many dry heat with this, made me do something which is probably not intended, but made me much more comfortable, swapping it with the Mini ProTank 3, which without any problem can withstand 4.3, for example, volts, sorry. For a long period of time, and without any trouble, and produces a good vape. The battery is pretty cool. This Clearomizer instead, I think, is a problem also of the coil head, which are very sensitive to overheating and over voltage. I had many dry heat and nasty one. And the problem, as I told you during the close-up, is probably because of this tiny hole that cannot feed the coil itself for a long time during a very long draw or a repeated draw. So this is something that is incompatible with me. I have too many dry heat with different coil. I use the two inside plus one additional one, and the three of them at least one dry heat stroke to my mouth. But except for this, I think the profile of the vapor for this kind of cigarette is not really a beginner, someone that knows already what to do for what does variable voltage mean and is quite careful, or someone that wants a battery with a long life but is not really vaping that hard. They want some casual vaping device. For this purpose is good. I still think that I suffer a bit in my overall judgment more for the Clearomizer than for the whole product itself. Another point that I want to point out, this is addressed directly to AirSmoke, and is the fact that you remember the package for this in the previous video was sealed, and there was no manual. To be frank, none of the product that I received has a manual. I asked the same friend that has this one if he had a manual inside, and he said yes. So I don't know actually if it's because these were devices for reviews and so there was no manual, but I remember clearly that when I received and I bought this one, the Supreme 650, there was no manual as well. So it's extremely important, dear friends of AirSmoke, to improve quality control for the presence of manual, because imagine a person that just heard about electronic cigarette, does not have any friends to explain how it works, and receive a device like this. In my opinion, this lady or gentleman could not even turn it on, because the 5-click thing is just for electronic cigarette. You do not turn on your mobile phone or your TV or anything with this 5-click. That has a reason, of course, it's for safety, but is not very intuitive. So please pay attention that every of your device AirSmoke has the manual in. Final point about price. This goes for around 40 euros, and I have to tell you something I witnessed in Italy. Someone, even before, when I reviewed my first AirSmoke device, someone on Twitter pointed out about the price, which according to this gentleman was overpriced. I will not even go down to the economy of managing your own brand and having additional branding, advertisement, distribution, and such a good distribution as AirSmoke has. Of course, this is not the point, but raise the price in comparison to what you can find from the original manufacturer, even better if you go directly on Chinese website, as they can be, for example, as Fastpack, just to name some names. Apart from this, I have to tell you that in Italy the situation is dramatic. I don't want to do an advocacy video now, but keep in mind that for e-juice in Italy we have 40 cents per milliliter of taxes. So a bottle of juice, that 10 milliliter juice, which costs 4 euros, 5 euros, the price is doubled because of taxes. I was thinking actually to buy something to try, but I find better Italians here in Riga for lower price than in Italy. And from another side, if you go on a brick and mortar stores, and I'm not talking the US style cloud chasing super expert brick and mortar store, because there are stores that are just there for profit, so they take some big brand of low level electronic cigarette and they sell it. If you go in a casual brick and mortar store in Italy, at least in my town, something that is comparable with a stand of air smoke, you will, if you are lucky, you will get for around 60-70 euros pure, like this one, pure Ego style battery with a CE4, CE5 Clearomizer for 60 euros, not even with the pass-through. If you are not lucky, you can end in some pharmacy shop and buy cigarette which for 80 euros you can get 10 Cartomizer, which are not refillable with e-juice. So 40 euros for a good device like this, which is standard. You can have you seen, you can swap all the Clearomizer that you want. Is not a bad price. Moreover, I never ever bought online on AirSmoke site anything without a promotion code. They take every chance they have to invent something. I ordered something from Italy, some coil for this, because I want to go deep in this dry heat problem, and some coils for another stuff that I received from AirSmoke, which is amazing. This is coming soon. I bought this with 25% of discount, so wait a bit, maybe if you want to buy online, but 40 euros plus eventually discount is a good price. There's much worse in all over Europe. We are lucky here in Latvia. But that said, for beginner, to me, this is the way to go. I still totally suggest the Supreme 650 for people approaching electronic cigarette for the first time. You can't go wrong with this. Just remember to keep the wicks wet, and there's no voltage to check, there's no voltage to make mistake. This little baby here can vape forever without having a single dry hit. So this is my suggestion for the beginner, for the total beginner. This one is okay. I'm not crazy about it. You know the limitation. If you're fine with it, is for sure a solid choice and perfectly built. Okay, I think I said really everything. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, as usual, feel free to give a thumbs up, or even to subscribe. I'm not very annoying. I come with one video a week maximum. So again, thank you for watching, and have a great start of the week, and see you soon for some other reviews, how-to, tutorial, and crazy experiment. Bye! The tea is very good. Black tea.